You know, when you're doing business across borders, it's not just competitive anymore. It's a full-on survival game. So today, we're going to break down how you can stop just surviving and actually start winning.
And boom, here it is. This image just nails the feeling, doesn't it? We're not talking about a few choppy waves here. This is a massive, global, geopolitical storm. And look closer at that lightning. That's not just any old lightning. You see those? That's the dollar, the euro, the ruble, all crashing down like thunderbolts. It's the perfect picture of the financial chaos and insane risk that every international business is facing right now.
So that really brings us to the big question, right? For you, looking at that picture, thinking about your own business. Are you really prepared for this? Is your strategy some kind of high-tech battleship ready to cut through the waves? Or are you kind of just floating on a raft, crossing your fingers and hoping for the best?
Okay, so before we talk about building that battleship, we first have to look at what most people are doing. And honestly, it's a flawed approach. Let's call it what it is, the old blind way.
And this image, this is it. This is the static agency approach in a nutshell. You got this blindfolded robot just clunk, 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 stamping forms. It's all about being reactive. It's just treating global trade like a boring checklist. Meanwhile, you see the leader in the background? He's looking out the window, seeing that huge storm coming, and he's totally powerless. This is exactly what happens when you ignore the real strategic dangers out there.
So here's the contrast, laid out plain and simple. On the one hand, you have that static agency. All it does is create friction, complexity, and headaches. But on the other hand, you have the strategic partner, and that's all about being proactive, about designing the right structure before you even set sail. You know, you build a ship on dry land, not while you're in the middle of a hurricane and already taking on water.
And that idea, that leads us to a huge turning point. It's a complete shift in philosophy that honestly changes the whole game when it comes to global business.
And here it is. This is the core principle. 3 simple words. Design first, action follows. It sounds simple, right? But it is so powerful. This is the absolute key. You stop just reacting and trying to fix messes later. Instead, you design the right path from the very beginning, and then you move forward with total confidence.
I love this picture because it perfectly captures that aha moment. You see the business owner? Just a minute ago, he was completely stressed out, lost with his crumpled up map. Now, this advisor figure is showing him a detailed architectural blueprint. All that chaos and guesswork, gone, replaced by the pure clarity of a solid plan. That's the shift, right there, from reacting to designing.
Okay, so that's the philosophy. But how does it actually work in the real world? Let's dig into how you actually build the strategic blueprint for your own business.
Well, it really breaks down into this 4-step process. First up, a deep diagnosis. We're talking about really mapping out the specific challenges and terrain your business is in. Then, based on that, you move to a tailored structure design, creating the perfect setup. After that, it's all about seamless execution, making it happen. And finally, you put up a long-term guardrail to make sure everything stays strong and on track for years to come.
All right, let's dive into that first step, diagnosis. And look, this is way more than just glancing at a spreadsheet. We're talking about strategic prejudgment. It's like taking a giant magnifying glass to the globe, just like you see here, and actively hunting for those hidden risks. We call them compliance landmines. And a landmine can be anything, right? It could be some obscure tax law in Brazil or a brand new data privacy rule in Europe that could literally freeze your entire operation overnight. Finding these things early, that's what stops your business from blowing up later on.
Okay, so after diagnosis comes the design phase. And this is where things get really clever. You see that tangled mess? That's what we call a settlement knot. It's what happens when a direct payment route, say, between 2 tricky regions, gets totally blocked. It's a dead end. But a smart, well-designed structure, it creates new pathways. It's called dynamic routing. Think of it like a Waze for your money. You're building an infrastructure that can automatically and intelligently find a new way around the traffic jam, making sure your cash always gets where it needs to go, safely and smoothly.
And what about execution? Well, the last thing you want to do is experiment with your live business. This isn't a science fair project. No, this is about deploying solutions from a proven arsenal. The idea here is that you have a whole library of architectural models, proven, tested blueprints for dealing with notoriously tough regions. We're not using your business as a guinea pig. These are battle-tested strategies that we know for a fact actually work.
So you go through all this, the diagnosis, the design, the execution. What's the end game? What do you actually get for all that work? Well, you get to build something incredibly powerful. You build your own financial moat. And here's the cool part. Your structure isn't a one-and-done thing. It grows with you. It's like leveling up. You might start at level 1, a simple, fast setup to just get into a new market. But as you expand, you hit level 2, where you're building in backups and making yourself immune to shocks. And then you get to level 3. This is where your structure becomes a serious strategic weapon. It's so robust that it doesn't just protect you during a crisis, like, say, a sudden sanction. It actually lets you make bold moves, like acquisitions, in those very same chaotic markets that your competitors are fleeing from.
And here we are. This is the payoff. All that planning, all that strategic work, it creates this. A dynamic financial moat protecting your business. Just look at it. The storm is still out there, the lightning is still flashing, but your company is safe and sound inside the castle walls, protected by the smart, flowing barrier that just pushes all those threats away.
Ultimately, what this is all about is changing your whole position. You go from being a victim of the storm to being a master of the chessboard. You're not just reacting to what the world throws at you anymore. You are confidently making your own moves, navigating this complicated geopolitical game, and charting your own course, often with a trusted partner right there with you.
So we'll leave you with this final question. It's really for you to think about. You've seen the storm, you've seen the old, broken way of doing things, and you've seen the strategic path forward. So, are you ready? Are you ready to stop just trying to survive and start playing to win on this global chessboard?